Okay, so guys, we're going to talk about arm locks in NoGi, okay, from a bottom position, all right? So the traditional way of looking for arm locks in jiu-jitsu from the bottom position usually involves a closed guard situation, okay, where I pull the arm across like this, and now I take my legs and I swing them up like this, all right? This can definitely work. There's people who do that successfully, but it's pretty limited, and it has some deficiencies. First of all, it relies upon, there's a lot of speed involved, and in addition, there's no closed wedges throughout the process. Now we can change that by first going to a top lock. Now I have a closed wedge, and now I can transition to the arm lock. But the other major deficiency is still there, which is going to be, so use this basic defense, right? We go to the top lock, then we go here, and then he forms this defense, and now we've got to punch through this defense. Now, we can obviously punch through that. Well, the trouble is, if you go to that bottom arm lock position, he knows that's the only thing you can do, right? There's really nothing else you're going to do there. You can go for that straight arm lock, you can try and sweep him and then go for the straight arm lock. But at the end of the day, if he puts up a barrier against that one defense, it's all he really has to worry about. Okay? We're going to look at what I consider to be the best NoGi arm locking position. Okay? I call it the arm saddle, and I don't know why more people don't use it. Okay, you see it, but I've never seen anyone give it a name. That's why I came up with a name for it. And it's very, very robust. We can launch offense in various directions from this position, okay? So first of all, let's look at what is the position, and then we'll look at how do we get there, okay? So just turn this way a little bit. Go the other way. Yeah, good. All right. So first of all, what is the position? Okay, don't worry about the sequence I'm using to get there. We're gonna talk about it in a moment. So the position itself is this right here, okay? We call this an arm saddle. Whenever I can get my feet over the top of his shoulder like so, and configure my legs around his one arm, my foot could be on his hip, or it could be on his far hip, his near hip or his far hip, and I could have either a shoulder crunch grip, or I could have a Kimura grip, okay? So this position here is what I'm calling the arm saddle. Now, how do we get there, okay? So one of the great things about it is that this position is going to become available to you very frequently when you attack people's legs. So how does Max inhibit my ability to get after his legs, right? So if I want to leg lock Max, what I would want to do is elevate him, now his hips are over mine, and I can entangle his legs and attack. Now, he's smart, he knows that. So what do you think he's going to do? He's going to keep his hips low, and at the same time he's going to bring his shoulders low. So he's going to make it difficult for me to elevate him. So let's say I'm in like a half guard situation, right? Let's say as I'm here, I'm trying to gain grips to start elevating. He stays low, okay? And now it's hard to do. But when he does this, he's bringing his arms closer to me, especially if he makes a cross face. Okay, this is one of the best positions to start looking for that arm saddle. So he makes a cross face here. He extends his arm. Now, his arm is very far from his torso. All right. If his because his wrist is over my head, it's going to be the shoulder crunch that we enter with. Whereas if his elbow drifts from his torso and his hand is near to his leg, we would go for a Kimura. That you'll see that more frequently when you're on top. Anyway, so he goes for this cross face here, and we note there's inside space here we can capitalize upon. So I take one arm, I go over, and now I grab my hands. Now my first goal is to take my left arm, use my elbow to push his face, so that right now my left knee is on this side of his head. I want it on this side of his head. So I use my forearm to push, and I get my left knee on this side of his head. Now here, what I'm gonna do is I push with the knee. My right leg is in between his legs right now. Okay, as I push, I pull that out. You won't always get this. This isn't the most important part of the movement, but if you can get this, it will be of benefit later on down the road. But again, you don't need this for it to work, okay? If I can though, I pull it out, and I get that by pushing with the knee. And once this is out, I hook it around the far hip. Once I've achieved that, if I've achieved that, I push with my left knee, and it rolls over the top, and at first it goes on his hip. Now if he doesn't grip on the inside of his thigh, okay, I'm just gonna do a straight arm lock right here, right? So people are always gonna grip either on the inside of their thigh, or he's gonna grab his hands together. These are his two defensive options. Grab your hands together. Right, those are his two options, okay? Let's just start with the grip on the thigh. So the next thing I'm gonna look to do is I grab my own thigh, and I pummel my foot to the far hip, okay? Now once this is here, I take this right leg and I hook around the shoulder. All right, now the shoulder crunch is how we enter into the arm saddle, but it doesn't offer us as many offensive options as I would like. There are a series of attacks we can use here, and they mainly come from a Kimura grip. So here we turn this way so that I have an angle to take my left hand underneath, and I grip the Kimura, all right? Here, I'm leaning on the front of my right shoulder and my head. Now, a good basic attack we can launch from here is I go with my forehand straight to the floor. Now I bring my hips up, and I've got this good Kimura grip. My right leg comes over the back, and my right knee comes right behind his shoulder. And now you've got his back, okay? Now, let's look at that again. So again, we're in a half guard situation. He makes a crossface, and in doing so, he gives inside space here. I capitalize upon that with a shoulder crunch, using my left elbow to push his chin, and I put my left knee in front of his face. I push and I free my right leg. Again, this part is not essential, but it will help. Now I push with my left leg, it rolls over the top, and my foot at first goes on his hip. Okay, now I grab my thigh. Now here, I pummel my left foot to the far hip, and my right leg curls. Okay, the reason why that's curling is it makes it harder for him to just grab it and push it down. Grab it with your left hand. Yeah, which is a problem. Here, if he goes to do that, it's a more difficult thing to do. It's harder to reach. Now, I take my left hand and go underneath, and I grasp a Kimura grip. It's very key as we do this. See how basically my right shoulder from behind is on the mat? I want to change that so my right shoulder from the front is on the mat, okay? And also a bit of the side of my head. Now here, I grasp a Kimura. Now I come all the way to my head. Okay, now my right foot back steps up and over, goes behind, and it's really the action of my right knee pushing that gets me behind him, okay? So I push with that right knee, and that's what gets me behind him. Now here we've got a turtle position. Because I only have one hook, if I feel like I'm going to lose my balance, I'll simply remove the hook, dismount, and start working from a turtle position here. You know, if he's staying tight here, it's probably gonna be hard to get that one hook in, or the second hook rather. So really, it's okay to dismount, come here, and work from here, because this is more stable. You know, both my legs are around his hips. It's gonna be hard for him to simply shuck me off over the top, okay? We'll look at that one more time. He cross faces me. And we get to work from the turtle. Okay, guys, make sense? Yes?